Hi all, Mr. Dix here. So we're going to do pancakes today. It's actually a year 7 recipe, but much harder than you think it is. So I'm going to put this on the skills bit of YouTube as well. This is about heat control. It's not really about the mixture. There's only 3 things in the mixture, but this is about heat control and technique. Some real famous chefs, one called Albert Roux, for example, one of his tests was to actually get chefs to fry an egg, because you can't do basic things, then you're going to really struggle to do the harder things. All right, so this is a very similar kind of test. So what I'm going to do actually is turn the heat on first, and I can put some oil in. Now this is partly to show you how quick that this recipe is. First of all, notice the frying pan. So I've got a non-stick frying pan here. This is really important, all right, because if it isn't non-stick, then you'll really struggle to get a pancake which is loose and you can slide around and toss and all the rest of it. So I'll turn the heat on. And I'm going to put some oil in the frying pan. All right, you don't want to swamp it with oil, but you want enough just so it coats the bottom of the frying pan. So I'm going to leave that just to warm up. What we have in here, and again, the link to the recipe sheet and the ingredients will be on the description, but I've got some plain flour, so 100 grams of plain flour. This will make about 5 or 6 pancakes. Normally, depends on the size of your frying pan. But so, we got some 100 grams of plain flour, and 2 eggs. There is an order to this. You can't just chuck it all in because it can go lumpy. All right, so the 2 eggs first. So crack 1 egg in, then the second egg. And what we do first off is actually mix these together. And what you're going to do is create a fairly thick paste. So there we go. So a few seconds. What I then have is 300 millilitres of milk. Now don't add it all at once because it's difficult to incorporate it. Maybe add about 1/3 of milk, just guess, haven't got to measure the 1/3. And then what we're looking for is the consistency of single cream. Often students will make the mixture far, far too thick, and what you end up with is a stodgy pancake. All right, so let's give it a mix. Get the lumps out. You get the lumps out now, it's easy, then you just put the milk in, it's obviously much easier. If you can see, lump free. At this point, put the rest of the milk in. Give that a mix. Now we're making regular pancakes or French crepes, which is actually slightly different, so essentially pancakes we're making. But you'll see in a second when I pour in the measuring jug, see how thin it is. It also surprises people, say, is this right? Yeah, absolutely, it's correct. Put that in the sink. Purely for pouring the mixture in the frying pan, pour that in the jug. It's just easier, just, you know. So, quick wipe there. Now, one thing which is important is, how do I know that the oil is hot enough? If I just pour it in and kind of guess and think, oh, that's probably hot enough. If it isn't hot enough, the pancake would stick and it'd be really oily. If it's obviously too hot, then it's going to burn. It's a real fine balance, and this is where the skill comes in. One good way to do it, which I teach students, is to, when you got the oil in, just use a palette knife or something, tiny drip. Now, when that starts sizzling and cooking, you will know that that is correct. So I'm going to move the camera over. There we go. Let's pull that down slightly. All right. Now at the moment, that's sizzling, but it's not quite sizzling enough. So I'm going to allow that to heat up a little bit more. Obviously be mindful, I've got mine on full power at the minute, because you do want some heat. These will literally take, I don't know, 40 seconds probably from start to finish, once the oil's hot enough. If you're using gas, which is much more instant heat, it might be a bit quicker. You might need to turn it down slightly if it gets too hot. So I'm literally just making a small pancake here, little dinky pancake. That's not quite hot enough. What we want is, when you put it in, it should obviously fry straight away. Now it's frying, but probably not as quick as we want. So I'll wait just 1 second. So pancakes, really versatile. You can have sweet or savoury pancakes. They're great, really good to freeze. You stand one afternoon and make hundreds of them. And then if you put a little bit of greaseproof paper in between each one and freeze them, they just freeze really well. Can't tell they're frozen at all. If you see now, this is starting to brown, all right? So this is what we're looking for. Now, a key technique with pancakes is the following. People often put in enough batter to cover the bottom. That's a mistake because you have a thick, unpleasant pancake. We literally pour it in until it goes about half, then it sits for a second, and then the excess liquid you're gonna swirl it around, and then we just leave it. Okay, if you heard, hopefully you heard on the camera, when I poured it in, I made a sizzle sound. If you didn't hear that sizzle sound, it wasn't hot enough and you might have an issue. So, allow it to fry. Again, I'm on full power. Interesting with pancakes, often the first one you sometimes do need to just get rid of. And you know, and they get better after the second one, the third one, sort of improves as you go on. Now, what we're looking for, so there's a little bit of liquid on there. We're looking for it to set around the edge, but as you can probably see, it's not too hot, it's liquid. We want that to set and not be liquid before we turn it over, okay? What you can probably now see is there's some air bubbles start to appear. And what you can do, if you're not sure, is to use a palette knife or similar and just lift one end and have a look. Now I can just tell that's actually still too pale. All right, so I'm gonna leave that a little bit longer and the pan might not have been quite hot enough. So, the liquid on the top is now set. That is now not wet at all now. I'm just going to put my palette knife under, loosen it slightly. Knife under, and just, if you're going to try and toss it, which I'm not going to because it's bound to go wrong, make sure it's loose all the way around, palette knife under, turn it over, and you're going to fry it just for probably 20 seconds, I guess, on the other side. I'll do another one, which would probably be a little bit better. Again, with pancakes, like I said, you can make them way in advance and then literally put them on a plate and then microwave them. That's a really good use for a microwave. Probably take about 20 seconds per pancake as well. Okay, so that would be probably about it. Okay, look underneath. One pancake. And what I'll do is I'll make that look prettier later. What we now need to do is when we start on the second pancake, maybe get some of the little bits out, otherwise they may stick. You need some more oil, and this is important. You do need more oil every time you fry. So as a reminder, pour some in, literally until it gets about half full. Leave it just for a second, and then tip to fill the gap. Swirl it around a little bit just so it goes all the way around. You get a round pancake, and then leave it just for 30 seconds. You'll see this mixture will dry up. Again, as you can see, if you give it a little shake and it moves, that's good, a good sign. Also means it isn't stuck. Here it is stuck a little bit. Just give it a little prod, just to give it a hand. Okay, so I'll turn it over now. Again, be confident, all right? If you're not sure, just use a palette knife, lift it up, and I can just see there's some brown under there. So I know it's gonna be okay. Turn it over. About another 20, 30 seconds, and then we're done. So really simple, have a go. There's only 3 real basic kind of store ingredients, so although you're not a waste food, this is a good thing to practice. Again, be confident. If you do it, take some pictures and send them to Mrs. Cooking with Mr. Dix at gmail.com, and see you all soon.